Welcome into Seahawks Today. I am your host, Will Ortner, and it wasn't the cleanest game. It wasn't the sexiest game. It wasn't the most fun game. But at the end of the day, what happened? Your Seattle Seahawks came away with a victory on the road. You ended up beating the Tennessee Titans by 6. You won that one, or by 7, I guess I should say. You won that game 30-23. Big victory for the Seahawks. I do want to say, though, before we get into the video, thank you guys so much to everyone who subscribed to the channel. We just hit 76K. That is an 9K growth since I took over this channel all the way back in August. So in 4 months, we've been just absolutely growing like wildfire. Thank you so much to everyone who came in and subscribed to the channel. We all really appreciate it. Now, I want to dive into what your offense looked like first for the Seahawks in this one. In your victory by 6, 30-24 over the Titans. You had 30 points in this one. Offensively, you got carried, though. You had one player at wide receiver that he's just better than everybody else. He ended up breaking your all-time single-season receiving yardage record. Already has over 1,300 yards in just the 12th week of the NFL season, and that is Jackson Smith-Njigba. Penalties really hurt you in this one. They kind of kept in the Titans, and in fact, gave the Titans a lot of room to operate. But Jackson Smith-Njigba in this one, going off, having an absolutely massive game, 167 yards and 8 receptions. That's why you won this game. You won this game because you have the best player on the planet. I mean, look at that stat line. It's ridiculous. And honestly, he should have more than 21 yards on average because he had multiple catches of over 50 yards, but he had 2 or 3 at the very end that were just like 2-3 yard catches so that, Darnold could get rid of the ball and get the ball out to someone so he didn't get sacked. Those numbers should be even better. That's how good he was. That's how freaking good Jackson Smith-Njigba is. Before we get into what the Titans did offensively, I do want to ask you, get your red pen out and grade the Seahawks' performance today. Would you give it an A, B, C, D, or F? Let me know down below in the comments. I think right now I'd give the Seahawks a C+. It was a fine game. Now some of it is special teams wise. DK ended up having that big punt return for a touchdown. Feels like he kind of called the dogs off. Now you do have some injuries, but Seattle, you shouldn't have been sweating that one out at the end. That was a weird game. Seahawks should have won by a lot more. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. All right, so here's what the Titans did offensively. Look, your defense stood on its head. Now, there's a lot of time of possession that goes towards the Titans, especially because of Jackson Smith-Njigba's just ability to get big plays. When the Seahawks scored, they scored quickly due to what he was getting through the air and a large part of what the rushing attack was doing on the ground. But I will say this. I was impressed with Cam Ward. He looked a lot better against that Mike McDonald defense than a lot of other people do their first time getting to go up against what the Titans or what the Seahawks defense has been able to do all season long. What I think impressed me the most with Cam Ward was his ability to shake off bad plays when he had a bad throw, when he had bad decisions on like which player to throw it to, where the ball was placed. It felt like he came back and the very next play was like nothing had ever happened. You were down in this one if you're a Titans fan thinking, hey, it's over. I thought it was over. I was making my plans. I know some of the Seahawks guys were probably making their plans for the rest of the evening, and Cam Ward said, no, we're keeping this game close. We're going to fight, scratch, tooth, and nail, and find a way to get the Titans into a position to win the game late. And I'll tell you, I'm very impressed with what the rookie has going. I still think that the Seahawks defense played extremely well. I think that you saw some of the injury issues kind of pop up again for the Seahawks. But I think what's most important is that the Seahawks still won despite things getting weird and fluky there towards the end of this one. Shout out to Cam Ward again, by the way. His legs, big difference maker for the Titans. We're going to dive into all of my takeaways for this game here in just a moment. But before we do, I need to let you know about my good friends over at Prize Picks. The hard-hitting football action is even better with Prize Picks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on any 2 to 6 player stat projections, and if your picks are right, you can cash in. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks is the best way to win cash this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones are overhyped? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your takes into cash all season long on Prize Picks. I had a little 3-pick power play going into this weekend's action. Cam Ward less on his passing yards. JSN more on his receiving yards. Rashid Shaheed more on his receiving yards. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. So I think the key takeaway here for me, at least to start the game, was your red zone offense. I thought that the Seahawks red zone offense looked bad for the second week in a row. What's the issue? Why aren't you finishing? It should be easier to score that low. And yet, multiple times in this game, the Seahawks had to do what? Trot Jason Myers out there and kick a field goal. Now, it's not the end of the world. Jason Myers is a pretty darn good kicker, but this game was a lot closer than it needed to be, not just because of you pulling your foot off the gas, but if Seattle goes down and scores on 3 of those kicks in the first half, well, then that game looks a lot different. Instead of it being 16-3, now all of a sudden that game's what? 28-3? Quick math there. I got there eventually. 28-3. The game's over at that point. Titans pack it in, you can pack it in, and we're all at home hanging out, having beers, having a good time, having some glizzies, hanging out, not caring about what's going to end up happening for the Seahawks. But your red zone offense, again, second week in a row, you don't finish. It killed you against the Rams. Didn't kill you against the Titans. Titans aren't good enough to have that red zone offense not kill you. You need to start scoring more in the red zone. I thought your rushing attack looked really strong. I thought that was a key difference maker for your Seahawks. I said going into this week that your rushing attack, Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, should look good. Kenneth Walker, great game for him, especially for someone who going into this game all of a sudden randomly on Friday showed up with a butt problem. Didn't look like he was too butthurt in this one. Nice little 6.5 yard mark on his rushing average. He's also, what I was impressed with was the big chunk plays. 10, 12, 15-yard runs multiple times in this one for the Seahawks. And then Charbonnet, we knew that he was going to get less carries. This is his biggest yards per average rush game. Got into the end zone, still that short yardage back for the Seahawks. But it felt like he didn't sit there and, hey, I'm sad, I'm upset, my role has been reduced. No, I'm going to make the most of my opportunities. You need to have players like that on your team if you want to keep marching, because you never know. Maybe Kenneth Walker will get hurt and things will go back to Charbonnet being the feature back. Sam Darnold, thought he looked pretty good in this one. I was worried about how he was going to fare early on, especially after having such a rough game and a game that he just got kind of picked apart in the media. I do think that you saw a lot of the leadership show up from the rest of the team. I mean, Ernest Jones telling people to go F themselves if they talk bad about Sam Darnold, I think is huge for your quarterback's confidence in this game. I mean, yes, he leaned on Jackson Smith-Njigba a whole heck of a lot. But you still end up throwing for multiple touchdowns. He didn't turn the ball over, although there was a turnover-worthy play. I wouldn't blame him for that turnover-worthy play. I'd blame your offensive line. He got hit right as he was trying to release the ball. 250 yards almost in this game. Only had 10 incompletions. These are all big things from Darnold. In the Klint Kubiak system, you need to be efficient with the football, find open receivers, and then let the rest of your team do what they need to do and what they do best. And I thought that Darnold has done that. And watch out. He didn't find Rashid Shaheed for a big play in this one, but again, he was just short of finding Shaheed for a couple of big plays. That's 2 weeks in a row now. They're going to figure it out. The chemistry is going to get there. The other big thing that I think for the Seahawks, and the last thing that I noticed, you need to finish better. You absolutely have to finish better. How do you let the Tennessee Titans back into this one? How do you let this score look the way it is? How is this game 30-24? How? There's no reason that it should have been, Mike. Finish. If you finish strong, you blow this team out, this game's over with 8 minutes left to go in the fourth. But instead, we're all having to sweat it out because the offense kind of stopped really trying as hard. Defense did well, but at that point, they've been out on the field too long. It just felt like you need to finish better Don't allow teams the opportunity to come back into this one. It's something that people keep harping on with the Seahawks. I don't know if we're really there yet, but you got a nice little game that you're going to go against the Minnesota Vikings in next week where you can work on finishing better as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please subscribe to the channel. We just got to 76K. That means that we're going to keep marching until we get to 77, 78, 79, all the way until we get to those big numbers. Again, thank you guys so much for subscribing to the channel. We really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time. Nocturnal Recluse, love y'all. Peace out. Love you too, man. Good to see you. Appreciate it. And of course, one last time, Dan the Man Miller. Boom. Our second half needs a lot of work. We keep this up. We're gonna start losing games, not scoring as well in the first. I couldn't agree more, man. I could not agree more. Dan, you need to finish better because that effort at the end, it felt like the Seahawks basically just, hey, we're going to win. The Titans are going to roll over. And at this point, Cam Ward, he's so young in his career, he doesn't care about rolling over. He's just excited to be out there to play.
Exactly.
He's having too much fun, man. He's having too much fun. And the Seahawks, you can't let him hang around like that. Can't let him hang around like that. Dan, got you on the Seahawks Hall of Fame. One more time, my good sir. One more time. Celebrate. And we are going to celebrate because a victory is a victory. A victory is a victory. But I don't know that I love where you start off right now. I do love Dan, and I love everybody else who came in, hung out with us. Coop, thank you so much, man. You made the show easy. You made the day easy. I really appreciate it. We're going to get that post-game video out here in just a moment. Make sure you go view it. Subscribe to the channel if you're not. Smash that like button. We're going to have a couple more videos coming out between now and the next time that I see you. And until next time, I'll see you later.